Welcome back. You're watching News Live. Now, it's been an eventful week on the Nkandla matter. Joining me now is my colleague Aldrin Sampear, who has been following the matter. Thank you for joining me, Aldrin.
Good afternoon.
Now, Aldrin, take us through the events that have unfolded since the president's proposal earlier this week.
Well, remember that it caught us by surprise when President Jacob Zuma the presidency issued a statement round about 2:11 in the evening that he's willing to pay back a portion of the money. He also brought in a new aspect in that proposal that he was bringing in the Auditor General as well to determine the amount to be paid. The Auditor General will be working with an official from Treasury. And remember that there wasn't an option that was available during the recommendations of the Public Protector. But now, after that, the Public Protector has welcomed the recommendations or the proposal by the President and has also agreed that it will be crucial to have the Auditor General rather there instead of having the SABC or the Ministry of Police, because remember that the Ministry of Police had exonerated the President of any wrongdoing and said that the President doesn't have to owe any money. But now we know that the President believes that he has to pay something, and hopefully there will be an out-of-court settlement. We know the two main litigants, that is the DA as well as the EFF, both have indicated that they are willing to go ahead with the court case, but yet the EFF has made some sort of a counter proposal.
Now, Aldrin, you mentioned earlier how surprised we were by this proposal, and there have been murmurs that the rest of the ANC leadership as well as cabinet were also as surprised as we were. Is that accurate?
Well, we haven't heard any statement from the ANC to that regard, that they didn't know about it. But what we know from the ANC side is that this offer by the President, this proposal by the President, is not an admission of guilt. Well, we heard yesterday what the EFF said quite clearly, that this isn't an admission of guilt. Why would you pay money if you're not in the wrong? So, quite frankly, where they stand, the President is guilty. And as they put it, they feel that the President has stolen from the public purse, and feel that the President should be held accountable or liable, even beyond the Constitutional Court case.
Now, Aldrin, speaking of an admission of guilt, I mean, we had the President on countless occasions saying that there was no money for him to pay back because he was never in the wrong. Why did he suddenly backtrack then and make this offer?
I guess that's the other thing that we really need to sit down, perhaps when we get that interview with the President eventually, about why was it that it took you this long to say, actually, I'm willing to pay? Because remember when Secure and Comfort, the report from the Public Protector came out back in 2014, the President made it clear that he will not pay because he did not ask for these upgrades. Even when the preliminary report of the Public Protector was leaked, I think it was back in 2013, he made the same sentiments that he was not willing to pay. There were some stories also around the issues that the President had a family bond or family trust that paid for all the upgrades that were happening, and no government money was used. And subsequently, that story has changed. And the other crucial aspect about the Nkandla story is that back in 2009, when the security cluster made that assessment, the amount stood at about 27.8 million rand. And that amount has now ballooned to just over 246 million and could go all the way up to 250 million.
Now, Aldrin, when will we have an actual amount as to what the President will be paying back? So he said he's willing to pay a certain percentage. What is that percentage, and when will we know what the exact amount is? Well,
that will be it, and that's only if all the litigants agree to this, to the President's proposal, that the Auditor General, as well as this particular person who will be coming from the Treasury, sit down and count all the money that they feel are the benefits, the undue benefits, as the Public Protector puts it, the undue benefits that the President has got in terms of the upgrades. The EFF has listed a few things. That's the cattle crawl, the chicken run, the amphitheatre, as well as the swimming pool. They say that's quite clear that those things are not security-related upgrades. So the President must pay the full amount on that. But we'll have to wait then from after the court, if the judges set down an order and there's an agreement that the Auditor General, as well as this official from the Treasury, would then sit down and discuss what the amount is and calculate that amount. The EFF says that that amount should be determined within 60 days and the President should pay within the next 30 days after that amount has been determined. So within 90 days after the court order, we should know what the President is paying, because the EFF is calling for the President to go back to the Constitutional Court and say what the amount is.
So as it stands, the case goes ahead on Tuesday?
Well, as it stands, because remember that the DA said that it wants to go ahead with the matter. The other thing with the EFF's counter proposal is that the EFF is saying that, listen, if you meet these requirements, then there's no need to go ahead with the case. But, for instance, asking the president to admit that he was in breach of the code of ethics of his office, that's going to be a long haul, and I doubt that the president will be doing that. So chances are that this matter will go ahead.
Aldrin, thank you so much. We've run out of time, but that was quite insightful.